Now let's look at concatenation of lists. Concatenation simply means joining two or more lists together. And to do this, we use the plus operator. Now take a look at this example. Here we have nums 1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here we have another list. So we can call this one nums 2 is equal to 7, 8. Now, to join these two strings together, I'm going to be using the plus operator. This operation is known as concatenation. Now, I can have nums is equal to nums 1 plus nums 2. Now, let me print out the nums. So here I have print nums. Then if I run the program, you can see we have a bigger list. So this list is a combination of this list and this list. The process of joining two or more lists or sequences together is called concatenation, and we use the plus operator to perform concatenation. When we get to strings, you'll learn more about concatenations when we use the plus operator to combine two or more strings together. Now let's look at repetition of lists. So here we're going to have repetition. Now take a look at this example. Here I have nums is equal to 1 and 2. Now I'm going to have result is equal to nums multiplied by 2. Now let me print out the result. And so here I have print result. If I run this program, I'm going to generate a new list that repeats the original list by 2. So whenever you perform a multiplication on a list, you are performing repetition. If you look at this new list, we have 1, 2, and 1, 2. And the reason for this is because we multiplied the list by 2. Now, if I want to repeat this list 3 times, I'm going to change this to 3. Then if I run this program, it is going to give us 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. So this operation is known as repetition. You are simply repeating the element in a given list and not multiplying the individual values in the list. The next thing we're going to learn about is how to add or remove elements in a list. So let's start with adding element in a list. To do this, we're going to be using the append method, and we're going to be using the insert method. So let's start with the append method. So here we have append. Appending simply means attaching an item at the end of a list. So let's take a look at this example. I have fruits is equal to, let's say, apple and orange. If I want to add an item or an element at the end of this list, which means after this orange, I'm going to be using the append method. But first, let me print out the fruits. So here we have print fruits. Now I'm going to be appending an item to the list. And to do this, I'm going to write fruits.append. Then inside of the append, I'm going to provide the value I want to attach or append to the list. So here we can have grape. Now let me print out the fruits again. So we have print fruits. Now if I run this program, you can see this is our original list. And this is the new list after appending a value. And as you can see, grape came immediately after the orange. So if you want to append, if you want to add item at the end of a list, you use the append method. Now let me add one more element or one more value to this list. So here we can have fruits dot append. Here I'm going to add cherry. Then afterwards, I'm going to print out the fruit. So here we have print fruit. Now, if we run the program, you can see we have cherry at the end. So if you want to add element at the end, you use the append method. Now let's look at the insert method. So here we have insert. Insert allows us to add element at a specific position. So let me have fruit is equal to, let me copy this list. So I'll copy and paste it here. If I want to add an element at position 1, I can use the insert method. To do this, first, let me print out the fruit. So I can have print fruit. Now I'm going to be inserting at position 1. So this means I'm going to write fruits dot insert. Then I'll provide a parenthesis. Here I'm going to be specifying the position. So I'm going to write 1. Then afterwards, I'm going to provide the value. So here we can have cherry. Now let me print out the fruit. So have print fruits. If I run this program, you can see that we inserted cherry at position 1. If I want to insert this particular element at position 0 or as the first element in the list, I'll simply change this to 0. So this is going to insert it at the beginning. And as you can see, we have cherry at the beginning. If I want to add it at the end, I can as well write 2. If I run this program, it is going to add it at the end. But the better option is to use the append method. If you want to insert or if you want to add element at the end, you use the append method. But if you want to add at a specific position, you use the insert method. Now let's look at how we can remove elements from a list. So here we have removing elements. And to do this, we're going to be using the pop method. Then we have the remove method. So I'm going to have fruits is equal to, I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Now let's start with the pop method. So here we can have pop. The pop method allows us to remove the last element in a list. So if I want to remove this element, I can easily do so using the pop method. Let's say I want to remove this element and also keep track of the element that I removed. I can simply have something like fruit is equal to, here I'm going to have fruits dot pop. This statement is going to fetch the last item from the list and as well remove the item from the list. But first, let me print out fruits. So we have print fruits. Now let me print out the fruit, which is the item we just removed from the list. So I can have print fruit. Then finally, I'm going to print out the list after removing the last element. So here we have print fruits. Now let me run this program. And as you can see, this is our original list. And this is the item we removed. Then after removing the item, this is the resulting list. So when you perform this operation, you are removing the last item from the list, and then assigning that value to this variable. Currently, our list is containing two items, which is apple and orange. If I want to remove the last element, which is orange, I'm also going to be using the pop method. Here I can have fruit is equal to fruits dot pop. Now let me print out the fruit. So I can have print fruit. Then let's print out the list after the removal. So we can have print fruits. Now, if we run the program, you can see that this is our current list. Then this is the item we removed. And then this is the list after removing the item. Now, we can also specify which element we want to remove using the pop method. So let's look at our list one more time. Currently, we have this as our list. If I want to remove the first item in this list, which is apple, I can as well use the pop method, but this time around, I'm going to be specifying the location of the item that I want to remove. So here I can have fruit is equal to fruits dot pop. And inside of the pop, I'm going to provide the index. So here I can have 0. Now let me print out fruit. So here we can have print fruit. Now if I run this program, you can see the item we're trying to remove is apple, which is the first element in the list. Now, let me print out the list after removing apple. So I can have print fruits. Now let me run the program. And as you can see, we have orange and cherry. Now let's say I want to remove orange. I'll simply provide the index for this value, which is 1. If I run this program, we'll have orange, which is the value removed. And then this is the resulting list after the removal. So this is how we use the pop method. Now let's look at the remove method. Remove method allows us to specify the value we want to remove in a list. Now let's have our fruit one more time. We have fruits is equal to this. If I want to remove apple, I can simply provide the value apple inside of the remove method. So to do this, I'm going to have fruits dot remove. Inside of this method, I'm going to specify the value I want to remove. And in this case, I'm going to type apple. Now let me print out the fruits. So here I'm going to have print fruits. Then if I run this program, you can see that apple has been removed. If I want to remove orange, I can change this to orange. If I run the program, as you can see, we no longer have orange. When you are using the remove method, you simply provide the value that you want to remove. And you have to be mindful of the cases. If I change this to capital O, I'm going to run into an error. Of course, you know Python is case sensitive. So orange with a capital O and orange with small o are two different names. So if I want to specify orange as contained in the list, I have to use small o. If I run the program again, we'll no longer have the error messages and the orange has been removed from the list. So this is how we remove items from the list. Now take a look at this list. I have nums is equal to 7, 1, 4, 2, 9. 9. I may wish to sort the values in this list in descending or ascending order. To do this, I'm going to be using the sort method. So here we have nums is equal to this. To sort these numbers, I'm going to have nums dot sort. Now I'm going to print out nums. So here we have nums. If I run this program, you can see the numbers have been sorted in ascending order. So if you want to sort a list, you use the sort method. Now, if you want to sort in descending order, that is from the biggest number to the lowest number, then you are going to be introducing reverse is equal to true. If I run this program this time around, it is going to sort the numbers in descending order. If I want to sort in ascending order, I'm going to change this to false. If I run this program, it is going to sort it in ascending order. But if you are sure you want to sort in ascending order, there is no need to provide reverse in the first place. So if you run this program, it is going to sort it for you in ascending order. But if you want to sort in descending order, then you have to provide reverse. Now the next one is the reverse method. Reverse method allows us to rearrange the order of elements in our list. So let me copy this out and bring it down. So I have something like this. To reverse this list means that I want to change the order of elements in this list. I want something like, instead of having 7, 1, 4, 2, 9, I can have something like 9, 2, 4, 1, and 7. That is reverse, changing the order of the element in our list. To do this, I'm going to be using the reverse method. So I'm going to have nums dot reverse. Then I'm going to print out nums. So here we have print nums. Now let me comment out this. Then run the program. And as you can see, our list has been reversed. Now let me print out the original list. So I can have print nums. Now if I run the program, you can see this is our original list. Then after reversing the order of the list, this is now our list. So reverse is quite different from sorting. Sorting means arranging either in ascending or descending order, while reverse means changing the order of elements in our list. The first becomes the last and the last becomes the first. That is the difference between reverse and sort. Now, apart from the reverse and the sort, we can as well sort a list using the sorted built-in function. So how we'll call the sorted built-in function. So here we have our lists. Apart from using the sort method, which is nums.sort, I can as well have something like maybe I want to create a copy of this list that is sorted. So I can have something like sorted nums is equal to, here I'm going to have sorted. Then inside of the sorted, I'm going to provide the list. So here we have nums. Now I can go ahead and print out the sorted nums. So we have print sorted nums. Then this is our original list. So we can say print nums. Now, if I run the program, you can see that our list has been sorted. So this is also another way of sorting our list.